Tywin Lannister was already about to die when he was crossbowed by his son Tyrion. And it was because Oberyn Martel had poisoned him. Now, this isn't really a new theory, but there's one more point at the end I want to bring up that you've probably not heard before as another piece of evidence for this theory in the story. But essentially, the way that the theory goes is that Tywin Lannister had already been poisoned by Oberyn Martell, and that's why he's sitting on the privy. If you remember Tyrion's trial, Grand Maester Pycelle is one of the people who's brought forth as a witness for Cersei against Tyrion. And he lists a bunch of different poisons. One of those is widow's blood. And it's a poison which basically stops up a man's bowels and makes him drown in his own poisons. It's nasty stuff. And the theory is that this is a poison that Oberyn used, right? We get the detailed account from Maester Pycelle, and then later we find Tywin on the privy seemingly suffering from the side effects of having taken this poison. But there's one other little passage in Storm of Swords that lends some evidence to this as well, and I think it makes the theory fairly credible. And it's in a Sansa POV. It's during the Queen's breakfast, the morning of Joffrey and Margaery Tyrell's wedding. Once the breakfast is over, where Joffrey had, cut up the book that Tyrion gave him, Tyrion and Oberyn and Sansa and Ilaria Sand are all walking away from the breakfast together. And Oberyn and Tyrion are having a conversation about the contents of the book and the different kings such as Baelor the Blessed and Viserys II. And they start talking about Baelor the Blessed and his time in Dorne when he went into the snake pit to rescue Aemon the Dragon Knight. And Sansa makes a comment that the Vipers refused to strike Baelor the Blessed when he went into the pit to rescue the Dragon Knight because he was so holy, which made Prince Oberyn smile. And Oberyn says to Sansa, "If you were a Viper, my lady, would you want to bite a bloodless stick like Baelor the Blessed? I'd sooner save my fangs for someone juicier." And then they also go on to talk about Baelor the Blessed being like Joffrey. They're both mad. Right, and I think this line is like another little hint that George is dropping that Oberyn's up to something else, because he says that he would save his fangs or his poison for a juicier target than Prince Baelor the Blessed or, King Baelor the Blessed or King Joffrey. But this is one of my favorite theories about Prince Oberyn and Tywin and the poisoning. And I think it also adds to Tyrion's descending arc in this story. Right, Tyrion didn't have to, as it turns out, go and murder Tywin Lannister, his father. If he had just left, it would have happened anyways, but the act of doing it adds to Tyrion's infamy and villainy in the story.